The day started great. Birds chirping, coffee in hand, job interview at noon. Nothing could go wrong until a Lamborghini nearly killed your coffee and your soul. You screamed as coffee splashed all over the shiny black hood. Are you crazy? You almost ran me over. The driver stepped out, slow and dramatic like he was walking in a commercial. Tall, sharp suit, expensive watch, and the most annoyingly perfect face you had ever seen. He looked down at your zip-tote bag, then at his car, then at you again, like deciding which one was more tragic. You tended my car with your coffee. Oh, I'm so sorry. Your poor millionaire car got a caffeine boost. It is a Lamborghini. Congratulations. Want a medal or a mop? And that's how your war began. You stormed off, muttering something about rich people needing therapy instead of money. He muttered something about people needing to look before they walk. Little did you know, your next job interview was at his home. You fixed your hair in front of a massive golden gate. Okay, Wayne, just smile. You need this job. Babysit a kid, earn money, buy noodles. Easy. The maid opened the door and let you inside the mansion. Marble floors. You tried not to trip just by looking at the price tags of everything. Then you heard a familiar voice. You have got to be kidding me. You froze, and he froze. The Lamborghini man, Taehyung. You? What the hell are you doing in my house? I came for a babysitting job. Before either of you could explode further, a small voice squealed. Nuna! A tiny boy ran towards you and hugged your legs like a koala. You are my babysitter? I like you already. You smell like chocolate milk. You are his little brother? Taehyung pinched the bridge of his nose like the universe was mocking him. Of all people, my mother hired you? And as if on cue, Mrs. Kim entered, dramatically holding a tray of cookies. Oh, Ryan dear, you're perfect for my little Junie. Ignore my son. He's been glumpy since kindergarten, ever since his cold feet broke up with him. Mom, you cried for 3 days, Taehyungi. You bite your lip to stop from laughing. He glared. The kid giggled. Mrs. Kim smiled like she just invented chaos. You're hired, Mrs. Kim declared, ignoring Taehyung's protest. What? You both said in union, and that's how you became the babysitter for the little brother and the nightmare of the older one. Ryan dear, welcome. You can start by making sure Vincent finishes his breakfast and doesn't feed it to the dog again, she said cheerfully. Got it? Any allergies I should know about? Only to broccoli and Taehyung's attitude. Mom, he annoyingly sipping coffee. Mrs. Kim ignored him. You will get used to my son's mood swings. He is allergic to normal human interaction. Explains a lot, she muttered under her breath. Taehyung glared at her. What was that, Miss Babysitter? Just admiring the flowers, Mr. Ego? Mr. Kim. Meanwhile, Minjun burst in, wearing a cap and sunglasses. Nuna, look, I'm Super Pancake Boy. I can fly, he said excitedly. Oh, no, don't jump from the sofa. Taehyung rushed over. Jun, are you okay? You... Relax. He landed on his ego-sized cushion. Perfectly safe. Mrs. Kim enters dramatically, holding an old photo album. Speaking of smiles, Wayne, have I shown you Taehyung's kindergarten talent show pictures? Mom, no! Here he is, little Titi dressed as a banana. He cried because the apple won first place. Wayne laughed uncontrollably. You cried over food politics? It was unfair judgment. The apple costume has sequins. Hyung was a banana. He also used to sleep with a plushie named Mr. Snuggles. Mom, please. Mr. Snuggles? Sound serious, she mocked. Don't test me, Miss Babysitter. Not testing, just observing a rare species of embarrassment. Okay, Sam, let's play something calm, not flying, she said to Minjun. Let's build a blanket fort. Deal, she smiled. They built a cozy blanket fort. Wyan accidentally grabs Taehyung's expensive blanket. Is that my homie's blanket? It is now Fort Friendship's roof. Fort Friendship, he shared. Taehyung pinching his bridge of nose. Unbelievable. You can join if you say the magic words. What magic words? Please, Nuna, let me in. Say it, Young, he giggled. You two are insufferable. He sighed in defeat. That's not magic enough. Please, Nuna, let me in. Wyan and Minjun both burst into laughter. Welcome to Fort Friendship. A soft moment follows as the three sit inside the fort. Nuna, you're nice. Young never loves like this. He should not get too attached. Maybe he just needs someone who makes him feel safe, she said softly. There is silence. Taehyung glanced at her eyes, softer than before. You really don't know when to stop talking, do you? He whispered. Guess not, she smiled. Minjun falls asleep between them, tiny hand holding both theirs. Mrs. Kim peeks in quietly, whispering to herself. He finally laughed again. She smiled proudly. The mansion was finally quiet. Minjun had fallen asleep, curled up under the blanket fort, one sock missing, one toy still in hand. Wyan tiptoed out, stretching her tired arms. Just then, she saw Taehyung on the balcony, glass of water in hand, staring at the city lights. She hesitated, but something about his stillness made her walk closer. I didn't know CEOs also brood like K-drama heroes, she said softly, teasing him a little, warmth in her tone. Taehyung turns around, eyebrow raised. And I didn't know babysitters were this nosy, he said with his pained smirk, his eyes tired but playful. Occupational hazard. Kids talk a lot. It rubs off. She smiled lightly, hands in her pockets. He lets out a small laugh. You really have no filter, do you? He laughed at her, amused yet a little charmed. Why? You prefer people who worship your bank account instead? She teased, tilting her head. I prefer silence, he said dryly, turning back to the night view, emotion hidden but deep. Silence looks lonely on you, she said softly. Her voice is gentle but honest. He paused. The air grew still for a moment. The wind tugged lightly at his hair, and for the first time he didn't look annoyed, just tired. When you spend years trying to be strong for someone, you forget what being normal feels like, he admitted quietly, voice low, eyes lost in the skyline. Ryan stayed silent, sensing she had finally stepped into the space behind his walls. Is that why you always act like you swallowed a cactus? She said softly, trying to lighten it, soft humor but caring. He lets out a breathy laugh. You really can't stay serious for more than 10 seconds, can you? He laughed at her, genuine for once, small and unguarded. Not when I'm standing next to someone who looks like a sad model from a perfume ad. She teased again, softly. He looked at her then, like seeing her for the first time. You're different, he said quietly, eyes soft, voice sincere. Different? How? Annoying? Too talkative? She said with a nervous laugh, pretending to joke. Different like, you don't treat me like I'm someone you can't touch, he said honestly, emotion heavy but calm. That's because you're not made of glass, Taehyung. You just act like you will crack, she said softly. He looked away, a small smile tugging at his lips. Then, a light chuckle escaped him. You talk too much, he laughed at her softly. And yet, you keep listening, she said quietly. For a moment, they just stood there, two different worlds sharing the same silence. Not awkward, not forced, just peaceful. Mrs. Kim's voice suddenly echoes from behind the door. Taehyung, did you tell Ryan about the time you got lost in a mall and cried? Mom, he groaned loudly. He shouted in horror, pure embarrassment flooding his face. Oh my god, please tell me that's true, she laughed, clutching her stomach. I'm changing my last name, he muttered under his breath, defeated but trying not to smile. Too late, banana boy, she teased with a wink. He finally burst out laughing, head tilted back, voice deep and warm, a sound she hadn't heard before. He laughed at her, freely, beautifully, like he had forgotten how to hold back. There it is, she said softly, eyes soft, heart unexpectedly warm. What? He asked, still smiling. Your smile, the one you forgot you had, she said softly. He didn't reply, just stared for a long second, the city lights reflecting in his eyes, before whispering almost to himself. Maybe I just needed someone to remind me, he said softly. Ryan hummed while helping June making cookies. Flour covered half the counter and maybe 80% of her face. Okay, little chef, gently pour the sugar. Not your whole soul, just the sugar, she said, laughing softly. But Nuna, more sugar means more love, he said proudly, eyes sparkling. If love gives me diabetes, I will haunt you, she joked dramatically. Taehyung walked in, holding a tablet. Judging by this mess, are we cooking or summoning a sugar demon? He said dryly, sarcastic but amused. Both multitasking, she said lightly. You look like a snowman, he said, trying not to smile. And you look like someone who has never laughed before breakfast, she said softly. You're unbelievable, he smiled at her. Mrs. Kim enters with her dramatic timing, Oh, how adorable. Domestic life already suits you too. She squealed proudly. Mom, he groaned, hiding his face. Mrs. Kim, you are my favorite gas supplier. She laughed. Speaking of gas, I invited a family friend for lunch today. You will love her, she said mysteriously. They both exchanged a glance, both suspicious. Wait, you baked cookies with him? She said, leaning close to the camera. Technically with Minjun, Taehyung just stood there judging my dough like it owed him money. She said softly, rolling her eyes. And how many times did you look at his lips while he laughed? She teased her. What? None, 0 times. She stammered, flustered but defensive. Liar, girl, you have got billionaire fever. She laughed loudly. Lisa, please. He's arrogant, moody, and allergic to feelings, she said with fake seriousness, pretending not to care. Exactly your type, she laughed, delighted at her own chaos. You're insane, she said softly, shaking her head. The family friend Mrs. Kim invited finally arrived, a tall, elegant woman in designer heels. Wyan instantly regretted not brushing her hair twice. Taehyung, this is Heijin. Remember her from the charity gala? She said sweetly. Hello, Mr. Kim, she said smoothly, confident and charming. Wyan blinked. Of course, she's perfect. Nice to see you again, he said calmly, distant but polite. Perfect smile, perfect heels, perfect posture, probably perfect Wi-Fi too, she muttered under her breath, sarcastic jealousy creeping in. Taehyung glanced at her, noticing the tiny parts she tried to hide. He leaned on the counter. You have been quiet, he said curiously. Just watching Mr. Perfect get introduced to Miss Perfect. It's inspiring, she said with fake cheer, trying to sound casual. Jealous Miss Babysitter? He teased her. Please, I don't get jealous. I get creatively irritated, she said confidently. You're impossible, he laughed at her, fondly shaking his head. And you're smiling again, she said softly, warmth returning to her eyes. Their eyes met, lingering just long enough to make her heart skip. Mrs. Kim burst in again, holding a tray of cookies. Did I miss something romantic? She said dramatically. No, they shouted together. Oh please, I have seen more chemistry in my old rice cooker, she teased, leaving with a wink. Wyan laughed, covering her face. Taehyung just sighed, but he was smiling. You know, your mom might be the real villain in this love story, she said softly. Maybe, but for once, I don't really mind, he laughed at her. Minjun, hurry up. You'll be late for your school's family day, she said cheerfully, trying to button his shirt while he wiggled away. Nuna, my young is coming too, right? He asked hopefully. Well, your young is busy being important, she said teasingly, pretending not to care. He appearing suddenly behind her. My schedule just cleared, he said coolly, hiding a small smile. Oh my, you're like a ghost in a suit, she said, holding her chest dramatically. My son, voluntarily going to a school event? Someone called the news, she said dramatically. Mom, please, he muttered. Oh, maybe you will finally learn teamwork or how to lose gracefully, she said with a smirk. The schoolyard burst with laughter, parents and snakes everywhere. Ryan was helping Minjun set up his art display while Taehyung scrolled through emails like a corporate robot. You know, you could pretend to be human for a day, she said softly. I'm participating by standing here, he said flatly, pretending not to enjoy himself. Yeah, you're doing great. The Statue of Liberty has more emotional range, she teased, biting back a laugh. He glanced at her. Careful, Miss Babysitter. You're dangerously close to being fired, he said, but with a faint grin. She laughed softly, and he couldn't help but look at her a second longer. A new voice interrupts them, elegant and smooth. Taehyung. Wayne turns and freezes. A beautiful woman walks up in a pastel dress and heels that probably cost more than Wayne's rent. It's been so long. You look happier, she said smoothly, confident and charming. Ah, Yuna, hi, he said calmly, composed but uncomfortable. Who's she? She asked curiously. A friend. And you are? She asked lightly. Oh, I'm an old friend, she said with a little smirk, emphasizing the word. Lisa's voice suddenly blared through Wine's phone speaker. Old friend? Girl, that's ex-language. Abort mission, don't let her near you, man. She screamed from the phone, chaotic and dramatic. Lisa, she hissed, he biting his lip to hide a laugh. So, that's your friend? He asked softly. She's emotionally unstable, she said softly, glaring at her phone, embarrassed. Meanwhile, Minjun drags both Wyan and Taehyung to the game booth. Come on, we have to play together, he said excitedly. They end up in a three-legged race. Wyan's leg is tied to Taehyung's. If you trip me, I will haunt you, she said playfully. I will try to survive your ghost too, he chuckled. They start running. Halfway through, they stumble and fall right into each other. Still as clumsy as ever, Taehyung, she called out, smirking with a fake sympathy. She's like a human perfume ad, she muttered irritatedly. Jealous Miss Babysitter? He teased her. Of her? Please, I have more personality in my left eyebrows, she said softly, pretending not to care. He laughed at her, warm, genuine, eyes shining for real this time. They sit under a tree while Minjun naps beside them. The chaos has faded into quiet sunlight. She's beautiful, she said softly. She's also my past, and I'm not looking there anymore, he said with a sincere tone. Smooth line, you practice that? She teased lightly. No, he said softly, voice low, gaze steady. He turned to her, eyes soft. I just realized my present talks too much, burns cookies, and somehow still makes everything feel lighter, he said softly with a genuine smile. She laughed softly, cheeks warming, gentle surprise and shy joy. Mrs. Kim voiced from behind them. Oh, my son finally flirts like a normal human. I'm so proud, she shouted happily. Mom, why are you even here? He groaned. I came to see my Juni's art project and accidentally witnessed a romantic movie. I'm giving you both 9 out of 10 for chemistry, -1 for not kissing it. she said with a loud laugh, pure chaos. I'm not kissing anyone. They both laughed, their hands brushing slightly, and neither pulled away.